Hello everyone, welcome to the U.S. Immigration Updates. Across the highways of America, a crisis is unfolding. Immigration enforcement has turned its focus to the trucking industry, and immigrant drivers are paying the price. In recent weeks, ICE has intensified operations, removing drivers from the roads, and the U.S. State Department has frozen new work visas for truckers altogether. For thousands of immigrant families, this crackdown is not just about paperwork. It is about losing jobs, losing stability, and in many cases, losing the only home they know. In this video, we're going to explain Trump's new crackdown on immigrant truckers, how it is being enforced by ICE and the State Department, why states like Florida and Texas are leading the charge, and what this means for immigrant families and America's fragile supply chain. If you are liking this video, please hit the bell button, subscribe, and like it so that you may get updates straight to your smartphone. Now let's get into the video. Since the start of Trump's second term in 2025, deportations have surged to their highest level in more than a decade. Nearly 200,000 removals have already been recorded this fiscal year. A growing share of these cases involve workers in the trucking industry, where as many as 15% of drivers are foreign nationals. The turning point came in August when Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that the U.S. would pause issuing all new work visas for commercial truck drivers. He said the decision was about road safety and protecting American wages. The announcement followed a tragic case in Florida where a trucker named Harjinder Singh, who was in the U.S. illegally, caused a fatal crash that killed 3 people. Reports revealed that Singh had failed an English proficiency test and did not meet federal safety requirements, yet still held a commercial license. The story exploded in the media and became a rallying point for stricter immigration enforcement. Almost immediately after the visa freeze, states like Florida and Texas moved to align themselves with the administration. Florida converted many of its way stations and agricultural checkpoints into immigration enforcement points. Drivers pulling in for routine inspections suddenly found ICE agents reviewing their documents and checking their immigration status. In Texas, Operation Lone Star expanded from the border into the highways, with state troopers detaining truckers and transferring them to federal custody if their paperwork was not in order. These steps may not remove thousands of drivers all at once, but month after month the arrests are adding up. Projections suggest that by year's end, thousands of immigrant drivers will have been removed from the U.S. The government frames this as a matter of public safety. Officials argue that too many foreign drivers are operating without proper training or without strong English skills, and that this puts lives at risk. They say these measures protect American drivers from unfair competition while also preventing accidents caused by drivers who cannot follow road instructions in English. But critics say the picture is not so simple. Advocacy groups point out that many of the drivers being deported have lived in the U.S. for years, with no criminal record apart from minor traffic violations. These are people who have delivered freight safely across America's highways, who pay taxes, and who support families that often include U.S. citizen children. One driver in Florida told reporters he had been driving safely for a decade, but now fears being deported and separated from his kids. The human stories are heartbreaking. Families are being divided overnight. Some children are coming home from school to find that their parent has been taken into custody. Others are watching parents sell off belongings, preparing for forced return to countries they left long ago. For many families, this is not a matter of law-breaking or safety violations. It is a matter of being caught in a net cast too wide, one that does not distinguish between a reckless driver and a father with a spotless record. Beyond the personal impact, the economic ripple effects are growing. Trucking is the backbone of America's freight system, moving 70% of goods across the country. Removing thousands of drivers threatens to worsen an already severe driver shortage. Industry analysts warn that shipping costs could spike by 20 to 30%. That means higher prices for groceries, higher costs for building materials, and delays in deliveries that affect every part of the economy. Some trucking companies have already begun to warn customers about possible shortages. Others are scrambling to hire replacement drivers in a labor market where qualified applicants are scarce. The American Trucking Association has taken a cautious stance. It supports stricter safety standards and licensing enforcement but warns against overreach. The ATA argues that if too many drivers are removed, the industry will not be able to keep up with demand. In their view, the solution is balanced reform, stronger testing and training, but without a blanket freeze on visas that cuts off a vital labor pipeline. Immigrant rights groups see the crackdown as another piece of Trump's broader immigration agenda. They argue that enforcement actions are being carried out in a way that ignores due process, catching people with minor violations and treating them the same as serious offenders. They also question whether the loyalty and moral fitness checks now being used in visa adjudications are constitutional. For these groups, the trucker crackdown is not really about safety. It is about shrinking legal immigration by targeting an industry that depends heavily on foreign workers. The debate is dividing communities. Supporters say the crackdown will save American lives and protect jobs. Opponents say it is tearing apart families and destabilizing industries. In Illinois, separate ICE raids on immigrants with criminal histories have reignited sanctuary city debates. In California, officials are under fire for licensing systems that may have failed to properly vet commercial drivers. In border states, residents are split between wanting tighter enforcement and worrying about the economic fallout. The visa freeze adds another layer of uncertainty. With new work visas suspended, between 8,000 and 15,000 potential drivers are being blocked from entering the workforce. That means fewer workers available to fill the shortage, even as freight demand grows. The trucking industry was already projected to need more than 1 million new drivers in the next decade. Now, with enforcement intensifying and visas paused, the shortage could become a crisis. What lies ahead is unclear. Lawsuits are likely. Immigration lawyers are preparing to challenge the loyalty provisions of the executive order, as well as the fairness of the visa freeze. Employers are pressing Congress for relief, warning that the crackdown could cripple supply chains. Families are bracing for more deportations, with advocacy groups urging them to know their rights and prepare for possible raids. And ICE, for its part, continues to say that it is only doing its job, enforcing the law and protecting the public. For immigrant drivers, the American road has never felt more uncertain. They carry the goods that keep the economy moving, but they do so under the shadow of deportation, visa freezes, and heightened scrutiny at every checkpoint. For their families, each day is lived with the fear that a traffic stop could become a turning point, that a parent may not come home. And for the country as a whole, this is becoming a test of priorities. Should safety and enforcement come before stability and compassion? Should the economy take a back seat to politics? Should children lose parents in the name of stricter regulation? These are the questions America must now confront, as ICE's crackdown collides with the realities of an industry that every household depends on. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Immigration Updates channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B1 and B2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family immigrant visas. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the U.S. Immigration Updates channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.